May Allah's peace be upon you. In this episode, we will proceed with the series of assumptions and guesses that atheists invented after they got into the trouble of the universe as a beginning point and the religious prerequisites for that. The first assumption we talk about today: did causality exist at the moment that cosmos emerged? In Islam, we believe in self-sustainability of God the Almighty. Allah is the sustainer of all existence. The earth and heavens are dependent on Him. Therefore, many Muslim scholars believe that God's greatest name is the ever-living, the sustainer of all existence. The surprising thing is, when we looked deeper in our universe, we found out that our cosmos only existed, stabilized and endured, and wave function only showed a particular pattern that refer to existence due to a sustainer. Wave function is possibilities of properties of any tiny particle. The position of that particle may be here or there, you don't know and you won't know. Wave function lays too many odds for the position of the particle, but it cannot and won't assert a specific position. Let's assume this small ball is a tiny particle, an electron for instance. Quantum mechanics is the science that studies subatom particles, and it's completely valid. According to quantum mechanics, it is scientifically impossible to know the position of that small ball after 1 second from now. Rather, it's impossible to know its position now. This is scientifically impossible. Whoever says that he can know its position now, indeed knows nothing of quantum mechanics. This is known as uncertainty principle in quantum mechanics. Uncertainty principle states that it's impossible to know the position and velocity of a particle at the same time. It's impossible to know two properties of a particle at the same time. One might argue that this is due to deficiencies in machinery or on our human knowledge. Whoever says this knows nothing of quantum mechanics. The uncertainty principle is a strict law of nature's laws, and it isn't attached, in any way, to some inaccuracy of measurement instruments, nor to our observation capability. Rather, it's a cosmological law. Cosmos, with everything in it, is completely minor, insufficient. It doesn't control itself. Neither we, nor the cosmos, will know what will happen to it after 1 second. Literally, the whole world won't know what will happen after 1 second from now. Rather, you won't know, now, the position of any particle. This is a cosmological principle. The collapse of heavens, and rifting of orbits, is an existing quantum possible, in every moment. Allah, the Almighty, says in the Noble Quran,
إن الله يمسك السماوات والأرض أن تزولا ولئن زالتا إن أمسكهما من أحد من بعده.
As Stephen Hawking says in his last book, The Grand Design, there might be one history in which the moon is made of Roquefort cheese. It might be that at any moment. But it isn't so now. We have observed that the moon isn't made of cheese now, which is bad news for mice. Hawking says in the same page, that might sound like science fiction, but it isn't. Anything might happen, at any moment. Those who understand quantum mechanics know what I am talking about. The surprising thing isn't about the conversion of cosmos to anything at any moment, as this is a possible matter. But the most surprising thing is that nothing of this happened to the universe. Rather, it is durable, stable and organized. Durability and stability of cosmos with everything in it is a proof that God is the superb upright sustainer. If God didn't exist, the earth and heavens would confuse in both. Allah, the Almighty, says in the Noble Quran,
لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا.
Cosmos, with every particle in it, is in need of God, since its emergence moment and in each moment. Therefore, wave function and quantum mechanics tell us that there must be a predominant for each particle in each moment. A sustainer God is a must, otherwise, everything would collapse. There must be a sustainer for the universe to emerge. There must be a sustainer for the universe to endure. There must be a sustainer for the universe to stabilize. Causality is essential since the moment cosmos emerged. There must be a sustainer for the universe, otherwise, it wouldn't emerge. Sustainability is a fact for those who reflect. Now, let's move to the second question that atheists ask, which is, doesn't causality exist within framework of quantum mechanics? The answer is, causality is an axiom within framework of quantum mechanics. Causality means, cause and effect. Action X leads to action Y, so, action Y is an effect that must have a cause. The dependence of action Y on action X is the essence of science, and quantum mechanics as well. It's the essence of any existential observation at all. Doubtless, causality does exist within the framework of quantum mechanics. Not a single branch of science can be founded without causality. This is a rule we memorize. Denying causality means denying all experimental sciences. What's the problem with quantum mechanics? Quantum mechanics' problem is with inevitability. What's inevitability? Inevitability is the time frame to events. Inevitability means organizing events in a time frame. Regarding quantum mechanics, some scientists have problems with inevitability, not world of causality. That's because time itself in quantum mechanics is unclear. Time frame in quantum mechanics is unclear for scientists. There are whole books and explanations for time within framework of quantum mechanics. Understanding time frame is the most complicated thing in quantum mechanics. Some scientists think that inevitability doesn't exist in quantum mechanics. Even though there are many other studies, and various research, that prove that even inevitability does exist in quantum mechanics. As in Bormian's interpretation. Bormian's interpretation states that inevitability isn't abolished in quantum mechanics. Scientific papers have been published recently that support Bormian's interpretation. Regardless, causality is an axiom and principle in quantum mechanics. Max Born is one of the scientists who supported that opinion. Born is the most famous quantum mechanics scientist, and a Nobel laureate in quantum mechanics. Max Born wrote this book, Natural Philosophy of Cause and Chance. He wrote a complete chapter in that book, entitled Causality and Inevitability. In that chapter, Max Born explained the difference between causality and inevitability. And he explained that inevitability is just a time frame, while causality is, action-wise, a result of action X. Then he said, believing that physics has given up causality is entirely unfounded. Causality is the occurrence of an action to another. Quantum mechanics is applied to causality, like all other sciences. Then he added, causality is the first axiom in quantum mechanics. These matters are already settled. Unfortunately, Arab atheists are toying with the minds of our youths, in hope that no one will review their videos and thoughts. Now, let's move to the third hypothesis that atheists put, which is, there are particles that come out of quantum vacuum. This means the material can emerge from nothing. Imagine if a young guy listened to that hypothesis. This is the most notorious hypothesis that atheists have used in recent years. They say, there are particles that come out of nothingness. If you search his allegation, you will find out that nothingness is one of the biggest frauds in contemporary experimental science. Nothingness in quantum mechanics is something that really exists. It is not nothingness as we understand that term. Nothingness in quantum mechanics is called quantum vacuum. Quantum vacuum is just a terminological term and doesn't mean nothingness. It doesn't mean nothingness with our terms. Whoever says that it means nothingness must be an Arab atheist. Quantum vacuum exists within the framework of space, time, material, and energy. It contains amount of energy that's impossible to get rid of. What really happens is just transformations of that energy to virtual particles. And those particles vanish immediately. That's all. Quantum vacuum doesn't lead to creating particles from nothingness, but from fields like space, time, and energy. Physicists agree on the fact that the cosmos came from no space and no time. Strange thing is, those virtual particles that get out of quantum vacuum have no actual value. Virtual particles don't transform into actual particles. They are just virtual particles that don't transform into material. They aren't material at all. But they self-disappear as soon as they emerge. They won't become material unless they interact with other material and energy. Whoever says that nothingness can create a material, must be an Arab atheist. Regarding quantum mechanics, in order to get those virtual particles, you need space, time, and zero-point energy. At last, these are virtual particles, that disappear as soon as they emerge, they are not material. Why do atheists dash behind those theses and build his mirage upon them? Why do atheists question causality? Why do atheists try to assume the fall of the world of causality within quantum mechanics? Do you imagine that they want to abolish a great mental proof, world of causality, for instance? Why do you do this, atheist? The answer is, because the proper mental construction is against atheism. Mental axioms, like causality, is against atheism. Why do atheists suppose things that have nothing to do with science? Like the appearance of particles from nowhere. The answer is, because atheism will only win with such matters. Atheism will only win by abolishing scientific axioms, and playing with quackery, and myth. Proper mental, and scientific, construction are against atheism. Religion is one of the greatest victories for mind. Rather, it's the greatest victory ever. Atheism only has the language of myth and quackery. This is the biggest proof of its suffering. For our today's assignment, as we mentioned in the previous episode, Dr. Ahmed Ibrahim's book, Mind Penetration. It is one of the best Arabic books I recommend regarding issues related to physics and atheism. You can find the book in the first link in description. Read it thoroughly till next episode. Thanks for listening. May Allah reward you well. May Allah's peace, mercy and His greetings be upon you.